What is going on, everybody? My name is Gianni, and today I want to talk about Xbox. Last Thursday, January 23rd, was the company's annual Developer Direct, highlighting key titles with extended looks at gameplay, story, and new surprises. And while I don't want to give away too much just yet, this year's showcase was definitely one that we will be talking about for a while. Xbox has had an interesting few years since the launch of the Series X and S, juggling several moving parts industry-wide that included acquiring massive game studios, admitting defeat in the hardware race, and expanding its vision beyond its dedicated consoles. That being said, some of their key business advancements seem to be riding on their software success as we move into the next couple years. So let's see how they set the tone for 2025. First up, we got the surprise announcement of Ninja Gaiden 4 from Team Ninja and Platinum Games. This is a collaboration between both studios. This was the mystery game reveal that was teased by Microsoft ahead of time as the return of a long-beloved Japanese franchise, and man, that announcement hit so hard. Admittedly, I have no history with Ninja Gaiden, having never played any of them myself, but this sold me on jumping in. Maybe these are things about the franchise that I'm just seeing now, but the combat looks insane, the story sounds fun, and that futuristic vibe with all the neon colors is just oozing style. The developers explained that Ninja Gaiden 4 would maintain the series' signature combat speed, but with a new protagonist and fighting styles to mix things up. There's also some added verticality that lends itself to some really cool looking platforming sections. I do like that they took the most time diving into the breakneck combat features because, again, Ninja Gaiden newbie here, that was easily the biggest selling point. And to top that off, the devs closed out their sneak peek with a, but wait, there's more. Oh man, a stealth drop for Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. What a way to get the fans hyped for the fourth entry. A fully remastered version of 2008's Ninja Gaiden 2 built entirely in Unreal Engine 5. As someone who will be that new to the franchise guy, this was a perfect hook to give a taste of what we'll have to look forward to this fall. Following up the 1-2 punch of an introduction was South of Midnight from Compulsion Games. This was actually my most anticipated game from this lineup going into this direct, and what they showed solidified my hype. We got an extended look at main protagonist Hazel and new combat abilities that we haven't seen yet, plenty of new characters to look forward to, and finally, an extended look at the other environments we'll get to explore outside of the swamp that we've seen in all the previous coverage. Compulsion also showed off a lot of Hazel's skills and abilities outside of battle, and how that ties into the game's southern, gothic atmosphere and folklore. I will say one nitpick I did take away here was that the combat left me a little underwhelmed, but I'm still super excited to get my hands on it. I don't know if it's just the footage shown here in the direct, but it just seems a tad less crunchier than I'd prefer. But again, it's a little thing that I'm sure will feel better once I have a controller in my hand. All that said, I'm still super excited for South of Midnight, and I can't wait to jump in April when the game drops. Third on the docket, we had a deep dive into Clair, Obscur Expedition 33 from Sandfall Interactive. So here's the thing. I am definitely a selective fan of turn-based RPG games. I have deep roots with the Final Fantasy series and some early PlayStation 1 titles from other devs outside of Square. But aside from that, my history is kind of limited. So when I first saw footage of Expedition 33, I thought it looked pretty cinematic with a unique environmental style, but outside of that, it wasn't like a must-have for me. I can confidently say that after this showcase, this is my most anticipated title for this year. I think we got the most new footage of the 3 previously announced titles here, and everything from the story premise to the top-tier voice acting to the real-time mechanics intertwined with turn-based combat has me sold. The newly introduced characters even remind me of the Final Fantasy games of my childhood and seem to add in the perfect amount of comic relief to the game's somewhat serious tone. Obviously, we'll have to see how all that plays out when the game comes out, but it seems to be a really fun dynamic between the cast of characters. Sandfall also showed off several new build crafting elements to its character progression system with passive abilities, unlockable skills, and stat boosting, all allowing you to fine-tune your own playstyle across your team members. I gotta say, I wasn't loving the UI in some of the menus, but as long as it doesn't make the experience clunky, then it's probably easy to overlook. Regardless, Sandfall really showed out during this direct, and I'm excited to get my hands on Clair Obscur Expedition 33 when it releases this April. Closing out the show, we got Doom: The Dark Ages from id Software. Similar to Ninja Gaiden, I was never really the Doom guy, figuratively at least, but this looks like a fun time. This is one of those ones where I totally get it, but the lightning fast combat of modern Doom games has never really been my bag. I was always one of those early 2000s Doom 3 weirdos, don't judge me, but I do love that they set the tone for this to be a half measure down from Doom Eternal in terms of speed, so that alone is good enough reason for me to check this one out. Id made the comparison that if Doom Eternal was a jet fighter, then the Dark Ages is more like an iron tank. It features series first block and parry mechanics, semi-open world campaign structure, and story beats that show up in cutscenes rather than collectibles. Also, shout out to the mech and the dragon, like, come on, that's just like a cheat code to get me to show up. You can't throw a giant robot and a cybernetic demon dragon in and expect me to sit by idly, alright? I'm there, no question. Outside of that, it also showed off some new difficulty sliders, which is slowly but surely becoming the norm in modern games. As somebody who's a big fan of throwing on easy mode when I want to just zone out and play something mindlessly, I'm a huge fan of this. Let me adjust certain aspects accordingly instead of giving me black and white drop downs. I love that. Doom: The Dark Ages looks to be a really fun time, and I definitely see where it is coming from when they say it's a perfect entry point for new fans and returning fans alike. I'll definitely be there day one to check it out when it comes out in May. Alright, so let's put a nice bow on it. People like numbers, so I'm going to give it a number. Overall, I think Xbox did a phenomenal job setting the tone for this year. I love the more focused approach of these developer directs, honing in on 4 or 5 titles instead of snippets of 30 games that may or may not hit their release windows. That being said, of these 5 games, 1 was released the same day, 3 got definitive dates within a few months barring any delays, and 1 got a window for the tail end of this year. Xbox did a great job lining up what Q2 is going to look like for the fans, and if that is any indication of what the summer, fall, and winter are going to look like, then we are in for an incredible year to be an Xbox fan. I also love the clarity on availability with all games releasing on Series consoles, PC, and Game Pass. And everything outside of South of Midnight will also be available day and date on PlayStation 5. They're clearly leaning into the ecosystem over hardware approach of the last few years, and as somebody who wants to see more games available to more gamers, this could not make me happier. I love the transparency around the company's vision for its next generation, and ultimately seeing these titles in more places can only benefit the community at large. I really think the only thing that could have been done differently with this direct was sequencing, because throwing South of Midnight after the double whammy introduction of a previously unrevealed mega hype announcement and follow-up reveal for a Shadow Drop remaster was kind of bananas. I know it's not a bad idea to kick things off with a heater, but I personally think those Ninja Gaiden announcements should have bookended the show just to allow for the showcase to ramp in tone a bit more organically. Other than that, it was an extremely impactful showcase solidifying why this will be a huge year for Xbox, and I could not be more excited. So, what did you think of last week's Developer Direct? Maybe you're as hype as I am, or maybe you're just ready to throw in the towel on Microsoft. Either way, make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below. And in the meantime, if you want to keep up with everything I've got going on, make sure to follow me at Gianni DeCrosta on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. As always, my name is Gianni, and we'll see you on the next one.